Imagine this, a stadium filled with hope, the roar of fans echoing through Old Trafford. Ruud van Nistelrooy steps onto the pitch, not as a player, but as an interim manager, a club legend stepping up in a time of crisis. The crowd cheers wildly. After all, who better to lead the Red Devils than one of their greatest strikers? But fast forward just 2 months, and everything has gone sideways. Why? Because Manchester United made what many now see as the biggest mistake of the season, letting Van Nistelrooy go too soon. Back in November, when Erik ten Hag was shown the door, Ruud van Nistelrooy stepped into the breach. He wasn't just anyone, he was a hero at Old Trafford, a man whose name still sends shivers down the spines of defenders across Europe. In his brief tenure, he delivered 3 wins out of 4 games, including victories over Leicester and PAOK, plus a respectable draw against Chelsea. Fans were buzzing, players seemed energized, and for a moment, it felt like United had found its rhythm again. But here's where things get interesting. Instead of sticking with Van Nistelrooy until the end of the season, United decided to bring in Ruben Amorim mid-season, and oh boy, did that decision backfire. On paper, Amorim looked perfect, a young, dynamic coach who turned Sporting CP into a powerhouse, winning every single league game before joining United. Sounds impressive, right? But there was one tiny problem. He wanted to start in the summer, not mid-season. Yet, under pressure, Amorim reluctantly accepted the role, and the rest, as they say, is chaos. Amorim walked into a team that was already fragile, and instead of building on the momentum Van Nistelrooy created, he tore it apart. His radical tactics didn't sit well with the players, and morale plummeted. Gary Neville summed it up perfectly on Sky Sports. "I thought it would get better when Ruben Amorim came in, but we've seen the absolute opposite." Even Amorim himself admitted during his first press conference, "It's so much harder to come to the team in the middle of the season." Translation, even he knew it was a risky move. So why did United push him into it? Was it arrogance, desperation, or something else entirely? Let's break it down. Under Van Nistelrooy, United won 3 out of 4 games, drawing 1. Simple, effective football. Just what the doctor ordered. Fast forward to Amorim's reign. 7 losses in 11 games, sitting in 13th place, and a goal difference that's worse than most teams in the league. Oh, and let's not forget, their home record is now the worst since 1893-1894. Yes, you read that right, 1893. Meanwhile, Van Nistelrooy finds himself managing Leicester City, another struggling side. While his results there haven't been great, consider this. Leicester's budget is minuscule compared to United's. If given the resources and support, could Van Nistelrooy have done wonders at Old Trafford? It's a question worth asking. Here's the twist. What if United had kept Van Nistelrooy around until the summer? Sure, there were risks. Interim managers can sometimes struggle to maintain long-term motivation. But Van Nistelrooy wasn't just any interim manager. He's a club icon, someone the players respect and admire. Unlike Ralf Rangnick, who flopped miserably because the players didn't know who he was, Van Nistelrooy would have commanded authority from day one. Moreover, imagine how different things might look today. With Van Nistelrooy stabilizing the ship, Amorim could have joined in the summer, fresh and ready to implement his vision without the pressure of immediate results. Instead, United threw him into the deep end, and now they're paying the price. So, who's really to blame here? Is it Amorim for failing to adapt quickly enough, or is it United's hierarchy for making such a rushed decision? Some argue that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and CEO Omar Barada fell victim to their own hubris, ignoring warnings from sporting director Dan Ashworth, who was eventually fired. Others believe the players deserve scrutiny, especially those who've struggled to buy into Amorim's methods. But here's the kicker. Does it even matter anymore? At this point, both United and Leicester are in dire straits, meeting in Friday's FA Cup tie. It wasn't just a clash of 2 embattled managers. It's a battle for pride, redemption, and perhaps even survival. 2 struggling teams and 2 vastly different philosophies. On one side, you had Ruud van Nistelrooy, the club legend turned interim manager. On the other, Ruben Amorim, the young Portuguese tactician thrown into the deep end mid-season. Leicester took an early lead through De Cordova-Reid in the 42nd minute, leaving Van Nistelrooy's Foxes celebrating wildly. It seemed like history might repeat itself, given how poorly United had performed under Amorim recently. But then came Joshua Zirkzee, stepping up in the 68th minute to equalize for the Red Devils, sending Old Trafford into a brief frenzy. As the game headed toward extra time, everyone thought it would end in stalemate, until Harry Maguire struck gold in stoppage time, sealing a dramatic 2-1 win for Amorim's side. It was a moment of pure euphoria for United supporters, but beneath the surface, questions lingered. How did they get here? And more importantly, was this victory enough to justify Amorim's tumultuous tenure? Before we dive deeper, let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Once hailed as the future of Manchester United, Rashford found himself increasingly marginalized under Amorim's regime. His struggles were well documented, but instead of finding solutions, Amorim opted to send him packing to Aston Villa on loan last weekend, a decision forced by frustration rather than strategy. Critics argue that Amorim made a grave mistake by letting go of such a key player mid-season. After all, Rashford is not just any forward. He's a product of the club's academy and someone who has delivered crucial goals in the past. On the flip side, defenders of Amorim claim the decision was necessary to shake things up and give younger players like Aiden Heaven and Patrick Dorg a chance. But here's the irony. Without Rashford, United relied heavily on Harry Maguire, a player who had been benched repeatedly due to poor form, to deliver the winning goal. Talk about poetic justice. Amorim's tactics may have paid off in this instance, but the bigger picture remains bleak. And then there's the Rashford saga. Was sending him to Aston Villa the right call, or did Amorim make a hasty decision driven by frustration? Whatever the case, one thing's clear. This victory doesn't erase the underlying issues plaguing United. As the dust settles on this thrilling encounter, one question remains: can Ruben Amorim turn things around for Manchester United? Can his tactical brilliance shone through in the dying moments against Leicester? But consistency will be key moving forward. If United continues to struggle, will the board stick with him, or will they regret passing over Van Nistelrooy? What do you think? Should Rashford have stayed? Is Amorim the right man for the job, or was Van Nistelrooy the better option? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fiery debates like this one. See you until next time.